यहाँ पर रखा गया है, उन्हें लेकर मैं सबसे पहले उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि वो मंच पर आए और यहाँ पर
एक जबरदस्त वेटरन जर्नी से और इंडिया में इनका दूसरा ओम जी को हमने रिक्वेस्ट किया था, इतनी सेहत खराब होने के बावजूद भी इस एज में भी, और मैं आज मुबारक देता हूँ प्रेस क्लब की तरफ से ओम जी को कि वो यहाँ पर आया। आज उनका बर्थडे भी है। तो के.वी. जंजाल साहब को सब जानते हैं, नाम बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है। हमने आज जो भी सीखा इनकी वजह से सीखा, और जो लोग नहीं जानते हैं आप उनको सुनिएगा आज कि कन्फ्लिक्ट 25 साल के कन्फ्लिक्ट में इनका कितना रोल रहा, किस तरह से इन्होंने हैंडल किया, और रिपोर्टिंग के बारे में बताएंगे। और मैडम रेणुनंदा जी से कांटेक्ट किया गया, वो भी यहाँ पर आए हैं। वो जेंडर इक्वालिटी के ऊपर बोलेंगे क्योंकि उन्होंने काफ़ी काम किया है वीमेन के ऊपर, बाकी जो है डाउन टोडन लोगों के ऊपर। तो सबका आईजी साहब को बताया गया कि इनका टॉपिक बड़ा अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है, तो ही इज़ एक्सपर्ट ऑन दीज थिंग्स, और सबको इसका ज्ञान होगा। और जो वर्ल्ड प्रेस फ्रीडम डे है, इस पर हमारी कोशिश है कि लोगों को कम से कम इसकी नॉलेज हो, क्योंकि जे.एंड.के एक कन्फ्लिक्ट एरिया है। इसकी वजह से हमें इस चीज़ को मनाना ज़रूरी है। मुझे लगता नहीं है कि कभी इस तरह से मनाया गया हो। नई मैनेजमेंट ने डिसीजन लिया और इमीडिएटली यहाँ पर हमने प्रोग्राम किया, और मेरे ख्याल 1-2 घंटे में सारा प्रोग्राम फाइनल हुआ। हमारा ये जो प्रोग्राम है बिल्कुल छोटा सा प्रोग्राम है, बट जितने भी लोग हैं, मैं ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लूँगा, उनसे आप सुनिएगा कि उनका क्या क्या टॉपिक है। जेंडर इक्वलिटी के ऊपर है, बेटर रिपोर्टिंग के ऊपर है, और डिजिटल जो युग चल रहा है इस वक्त, जर्नलिस्ट को क्या क्या अलर्ट रहना चाहिए और किस तरह से रहना चाहिए। मैं सबका स्वागत करता हूं, और जितने भी साथियों का, और जितने भी यंगस्टर लोग हैं, नए लोग आए हैं जो जर्नलिज्म में, चाहे कैमरा पर्सन है, रिपोर्टर्स हैं, इतने सीनियर लोग हमारे पास आए, हमारी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है, इनको हम सुनेंगे, उस पर हम कुछ अमल भी करेंगे। थैंक यू।
जैसे जब यहाँ पे ऑटोक्रेटिक रूल था, मेरे यहाँ पे नौजवान साथी बैठे हुए हैं, वो इनके एक्सपीरियंस से
ऐसे इतने रेलेवेंट है पुराने वक्तों की इस वक्त, तो अब सारी टेक्नोलॉजी बदल गई है, प्रायोरिटीज बदल गई है, सिचुएशन बदल गई है। वो एक दौर था, जिन्होंने कहा महाराजा हरि सिंह के वक्त में, वो महाराजा प्रताप सिंह का वक्त था, जब पिताजी को अखबार निकालने की इजाज़त लेने के लिए 3 साल लग गए। पहले महाराजा ने कहा इस पर आपकी दरख्वास्त पर गौर नहीं किया जा सकता। उन्होंने अपनी जद्दोजहद जारी रखी। दूसरी बार उन्होंने साल के बाद कहा हमने गौर किया है, लेकिन इजाज़त नहीं दी जा सकती। फिर तीसरी बार 3 साल इसी में लग गए। फिर उन्होंने इजाज़त दी उस वक्त के प्रेस एक्ट में के तहत किसी अखबार को निकालने की इजाज़त ही नहीं थी, और वो महाराजा से इजाज़त लेनी पड़ती थी। फिर वो मेरे पिताजी उससे पहले मार्शल लॉ के दिनों में लाला लाजपत राय का नाम आपका सुना होगा, शहर पंजाब उसको कहते थे। वो जगह वतन थे। उन्होंने वापसी पर लाहौर से वंदे मातरम शुरू किया। वंदे मातरम में वो एक वैकेंसी खाली थी, जिसमें उन्होंने मेरे पिताजी ने भी अप्लाई किया, और लाला लाजपत राय ने उनको चुन लिया। उसके बाद वहाँ मार्शल लॉ लग गया, तो आपको पता है क्या चलने वाला बात की वजह से। फिर वो हंटर कमेटी बैठी, फिर उनको वहाँ रिपोर्टिंग के लिए जाना पड़ता था। तो इस तरह से उनको दिल में ख्वाहिश पैदा हुई, अगर पंजाब से 8-10 अखबार निकल सकते हैं तो तो मेरी रियासत इतनी बड़ी रियासत है, वहाँ कोई अखबारी नहीं है, तो वहाँ से अखबार निकाल उसी में वो 3 साल आज कल तो हर काम साथ देते हैं, उसके बाद शायद कभी बात होती होगी, लेकिन उसको तो महाराजा की इजाज़त लेनी पड़ेगी। और जब अखबार शुरू हुआ तो प्रेस भी नहीं था कोई जो जहाँ अखबार छप सके, तो एक दस्ती प्रेस लगाना पड़ा था। आज बिजली का प्रेस अब तो सब कुछ रोशनी वगैरह चलती है, तस्वीरें सबकी हैं, सब तो दस्ती प्रेस में अखबार निकालना पड़ा। तो महाराजा प्रताप सिंह का फिर महाराजा प्रताप सिंह का दौर खत्म हो गया 1925 में, 24 में। तो उस वक्त अखबार की इजाज़त नहीं, और वो क्योंकि दस्ती प्रेस में छपता था। वो लंबी कहानी है कि वो प्रेस कैसे चलाते थे, तो कैसे अखबार छपता था, लेकिन बिजली भी नहीं थी लाने देते। गांधी जी का सत्याग्रह शुरू हुआ, साल का सत्याग्रह का भी काम आपने 1930 की बात है। उन्होंने वो अखबार में जम्मू में उस वक्त मुझे अच्छी तरह याद है, मैं स्कूल में पढ़ता था। स्कूल बंद हो गए गांधी जी की गिरफ्तारी पर, और देशी कपड़ों की होली जलाई गई। तो महाराजा हरि सिंह उस वक्त महाराजा नहीं थे, उस वक्त राजा थे, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर। और आज भी अगर आप मंडी मुबारक में जाए ना, तो वहाँ आपको वो जो बिल्डिंग है ना, उस पर लिखा नजर आएगा फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री। वो फॉरेन मिनिस्टर महाराजा हरि सिंह। तो खैर वो फिर महाराजा बन गए। फिर साल का सत्याग्रह शुरू हो गया 500 साल के बाद। तो महाराजा उस खबर से ही घबरा गए, क्योंकि हमारे रियासत की और ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के दरमियान हुक्मरान और माकाल का रिश्ता नहीं था। हमारी एक ट्रीटी थी ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के साथ, क्योंकि ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के गाँव भी जमे नहीं थे। उनको पंजाब में अपने आप को महाराजा रंजीत थी, इस फौज को शिकस्त देने के बाद कंसोलिडेट कर रहे थे। तो इसलिए महाराजा गुलाब सिंह ने उनसे ट्रीटी कर ली 16 मार्च 1946 को, जिसमें अंग्रेज़ों ने मान लिया कि ये इलाका जो है पहाड़ पर, ये इस पर आप हुक्मरान बने और हमारी मदद करें, हम आपकी मदद करेंगे। तो इस तरह सिलसिला चलता रहा। लेकिन जब महात्मा गांधी की गिरफ्तारी की खबर छाया हुई, तो उसमें महाराजा ने बड़ा 150 सफे का ऑर्डर निकाला रणबीर को बंद करने के लिए। इससे मेरी जो ट्रीटी ऑब्लिगेशन है ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट पर, कि मैं उनके खिलाफ कोई गुजारा नहीं होने दूंगा यहाँ, उस पर असर पड़ता है। और ऐसा नजर आता है जैसा मैंने ही ये डिमॉन्स्ट्रेशन दी हो, ऐसे की बातें थी। वो अखबार बंद हो गए। उसके बाद फसाद यहाँ हुआ, बड़ा वो लंबा चौड़ा किस्सा है। तो वह गलांसी कमीशन बैठा। गलांसी कमीशन भी महाराजा का एक वजीर था किसी वक्त, बाद में वो गवर्नर बना डिवाइडेड किया था। उस गलांसी कमीशन ने अपने रिपोर्ट में लिखा कि यहाँ अखबार ही कोई नहीं है जो गलत फहमियों को और झूठी खबरों को मतलब कंट्राडिक्ट कर सके, इसलिए यहाँ अखबार की आज़ादी भी होनी चाहिए। फिर नया एक कानून बना गलांसी कमीशन, और 18 महीने के बाद रणबीर को दोबारा शुरू करने की इजाज़त दी, और नया प्रेस एक्ट बना, जिसके तहत फिर और अखबार भी 7 साल रणबीर अखबार वाहिद अखबार था। तो 1931 में फिर वो नया दौर शुरू हो गया। यहाँ कर्नल कालवन थे, वो अंग्रेज़ों ने वज़ीर आज़म भेजा, वो यहाँ 6-7 साल रहे। फिर वो आगे दूसरा दौर आ गया एक्सेशन का। उस वक्त फिर लीग तो महाराजा ने गवर्नमेंट ने आपने कहा कि नहीं, आप जो लिख रहे हैं हिंदुस्तान से आधार होना चाहिए, शेख अब्दुल्ला को रहा करना चाहिए, वो मेरा भगवान है। और वो क्योंकि यहाँ के लीडर थे कश्मीर में, नाम लिखते थे उसको रहा कर दो और कश्मीर यूनियन से हिंद यूनियन से नाटक हो गया। लेकिन इस पर भी वो बात फिर उस वक्त वजीर आजम वो अच्छे खासे दोस्त थे वालिद साहब से, क्योंकि वो लोग नीचे से ऊपर गए थे। उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, आप गलत कर रहे हैं, तो आप उन्होंने आगे दे दिया स्टार वरम दी, प्रेस भी हमारा बंद हो गया, तो वो भी हुआ वगैरह कुछ नहीं। जिस वक्त हिंदुस्तान से आज़ाद हुआ तो उस वक्त भी उसने फिर उनको बीच में नजर बंद करना पड़ा वालिद साहब को। तो वो दौर हो था, वो आज प्रेस की अपनी तकलीफ है, लेकिन ऐसी बात नहीं है तो वैसी तकलीफ। वहाँ जेल भी जाना पड़ा उनको, नजर बंद होकर सबका हमारा गाँव है आबाई गाँव, वहाँ को नजर बंद कर दिया, अखबार बंद हो गए। ऐसा कौन कुछ होता है? आज प्रेस की आज़ादी है। आज आप देखें एक तो अखबार कितने निकल रहे हैं, मेरा ख्याल है इस वक्त जम्मू से 200-300 से कम अखबार नहीं होंगे, ज़्यादा ही होंगे।
I have been given the topic of better reporting. Idea comes when where is the need for journalism and what is the journalism by the way? It has come to stay as a very powerful instrument, a social instrument, which has a potential to even uproot mighty governments and push massive agitations. Is it a force multiplier? What is this? And why the UNO is concerned about journalism, and that too about in 1993. Idea is that journalism is not a part of the governance. Neither is a part of originally not a part of a business. As we understand in the freedom movement, it used to be a missionary aspect, and most of the leaders, national leaders, were associated with the newspapers. So they use newspapers to push their agitation, push the ideas of independence. Rao Sahib had narrated about Mahatma Gandhi's newspaper and Vande Mataram, Lajpat Rai. There are many other newspapers which were in the field, in the work of doing journalism to promote the interest of the freedom struggle. Friends, if I take the journalism as a important part of social order. Today we have social journalism, social networking, and even the Prime Minister of India and the Chief Minister have a follower running into lakhs on the social network. So that is another channel of communication to reach the people. Though these social sites are not technically part of the journalism, and there is no regulatory mechanism available right now to control those. But nonetheless, I consider journalism as an engine for empowerment of people. Why empowerment of people? People can only be empowered if they have the information. Information is power. And information coming from a profession now called journalism will make them so powerful that they can take their decisions about themselves, their living society, or even participating in the government or even forming government. So if the journalism is a engine for of empowerment or engine for change of the government, change of mindset, change of your myths, even changing the lifestyle, and even promoting a scientific temper in the society. This is all role of the journalism, I perceive it. If the journalism, particularly coming to the topic of why UNO is concerned with the better reporting. Decidedly the negative part of it, that probably there is not much objective reporting taking place in the world. The reporting is the crux of journalism. As Sraf Sahab had said that facts are sacred and opinion is free, comments are free. So the first part of better reporting, most of the working journalists are sitting before me, and it looks odd for a retired government servant to teach them what is a better reporting. But this is the task assigned to me by President Ashli. Accuracy of facts. How many of us, the working journalists, are really concerned about the accuracy of facts? The facts must be accurate. Then the facts must be fair. And third important thing is that it has to be unbiased. So coming to the bias, after all, we are living in a social order. Everybody is nobody is above board. As a human being, we are under influences. It is very difficult to distance yourself with so many influences descending on you. For example, in our Jammu and Kashmir state, if we look at this scenario, what can a reporting will be a totally objective? We could be biased with a personal bias. If some journalist is not pulling on well with some man in the authority, the reporting slant will be accordingly targeted to him. Then there is a regional bias. We have newspapers based in Srinagar, published from Jammu. Invariably, the same news will have a regional bias in Kashmir, having prominence on the aspect which is either newsy or creating problem or anything else in one region. So that becomes a selectively using the part of that news, though it is, I can't say that it is a wrong part, but it's making a selective use of facts, same facts in a different slant. So that is another bias. Then the bias of the editor. The editor has his own ideology, so it can be another bias. So if you take it economic bias, if somebody is have some economic interest, like corporate sector we have nowadays, they are under scanner in all over country. So that is another bias, that could be one bias. There is another bias which I perceive is like a reporting you protect the interest of your source. If you have a source in the government and you get a story about him, I think his interests are protected because he is your permanent source. That's another bias. So all these things, when we talk of the better reporting, it has to be in a given situation. Like Manu told about me as my role in the conflict situation in Kashmir. That was altogether different. What Sraf Sahab was telling, I could be accused of everything what is referring to the Maharaja regime. Because the situations are different. the tasks assigned to government or authorities are different. But objectively reporting in a conflict situation, pressures from all the sides, it is very, very difficult task before you. I have seen that even for the government servants, even the members of the information department performing their duty in Kashmir at one point of time was a Herculean task for him. So the impact of the situation on your mind, on your behavior, it has a linkage with the ground realities, particularly in the conflict situations. When we talk of these particularly accuracy for facts and fairness and independence, unbiased, these are the fundamentals of journalism. I think it doesn't require anything, because these are the basis on which the journalism has thrived and will continue to thrive on an issue like this. On this occasion, I wish to read out the message of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, which is very relevant, sums up the need for observing World Press Freedom Day. He says, quality journalism enables citizens to make informed decisions about their society and development. It also works to expose injustice, corruption, and the abuse of power. For this, journalism must be able to thrive in an enabling environment in which they can work independently and without undue interference and in conditions of safety. This is the basic crux of the whole idea of freedom, and why we are observing this day today on 3rd. So he sums up this thing. If you go to there is a paradigm shift even in the style of reporting. Earlier it used to be hard news reporting. The reporting is only hard news. Today it is opinion based reporting. So you report and simultaneously you give the opinion in the second and third paragraphs. So it is just like in a litigation, you give the lawyer give you a leading questions. So you are put on a track. The people or the reader is put on a track that probably the decision of the government is linked on these lines, which the government did not say so, but you are saying it. This is how the opinion is now coming into a play while you are reporting. Opinion otherwise is independent of facts. You are entitled to make your opinion on the basis of the facts available. But as Sraf Sahab said, the facts should not be tampered with. So in a given situation, even this day is celebrated with one more objective of evaluating the status of freedom of the press. To what level the freedom of press is good, is providing an atmosphere for journalism to thrive. The UN also is keen, because the journalism freedom of press is relevant more in democracies, not in autocratic or on a dictatorial rules, because they don't allow freedom like we have in the autocratic rule of Maharajas, and Sraf Sahab was narrating. Even the grant of permission was taken 3 years. Here you get the permission from registrar of newspaper in 1 month without any hassles, and all other facilities fall in line. But in a dictatorial rule or in a Janta rule, they want some sort of a committed journalism, the journalism which serves the interest of the rulers. This is not so in the case of democracy in which we are living. So our moorings are different, and there is always a scope. There's always a scope for improving the reporting based on facts, though the style keeps on changing every passage of time. I am grateful to the press club of inviting me here, that despite the fact that I am not a journalist in the real sense, and giving me opportunity of participating in this day, and I have the privilege of listening to Sarab Sahab. Is a living legend of journalism in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much.
And when I have a second opinion, the closest thing that I come to is that maybe I should have also tried journalism. I write a bit. I have written for a few newspapers. 2 years back I wrote a creative article which was published in a literary magazine. Now a leading publishing house is coming with an anthology of best selected articles, and fortunately my article also finds a place there. It is being edited by Dilip Bob, who is a very famous journalist, as you know, and an editor. And this book is going to be launched on 9th of this month. Apart from that, I have written a novel also. It should be out in July or August, which is being published by HarperCollins. Some of my Facebook friends are probably aware of that. So the closest I have ever thought of an alternate career is journalism. So by which I imply that I have got great respect for my journalist friends. Coming back to the topic which has been assigned to me, if you ask me one thing which has changed in my living of little more than 40 years, I would say it's the information. It's the way we communicate. I remember those days. I used to be in Delhi, and when I had to speak to my parents here in Jammu, we would go to the STD, then we would wait for hours and get a chance to get inside the PCO, get through a call. Then we had this tendency of shouting, you know. When you were talking on STD, this thing, you had this tendency of shouting as if you were talking far off. So that is one thing which has visibly changed over the years, which also implies that this is the age of information, this is the age of information technology. That also means that journalism has also changed over the years. I still remember we used to get this local newspaper early in the morning. We would go through it. Then we used to wait till the afternoon when we used to get to read Times of India. And I have been a I've been a great fan of Times of India, right from R.K. Lakshman's cartoon to sports pages and everything. Then we would wait for the evening news on the Doordarshan, and you had those 15-20 precious minutes without any analytical kind of a discussion, and we would just go through the news, and it was like a drill which we were brought up with. That was before Prannoy Roy came on the scene, and we got hooked to World This Week, and I learned a lot of things from that, especially international affairs. So journalism has over the years changed, especially so in last about 8 to 10 years because of the internet. We are all aware of that. Now the question arises, who is a journalist? And what is journalism? To my mind, this stereotypical image that we had of, in inverted commas, patrakar, of holding a pen and wearing a khadi kurta, having a jhola, has changed. For that matter, a lady reporter wading her way through crowded streets with a cameraman following her. That typical image of a journalist has changed over the years. Everybody is a journalist today. Somebody who's on Facebook, who's making an opinion, somebody who's on microblogging site of Twitter, who's putting a comment, he's also a journalist, to my mind, because that generates debates. If I put a status on, if I have an opinion about something, and if I update that as my status, that is going to generate a debate, isn't it? So in a way, I am also a journalist. So definition of a journalist and journalism over the years has changed. And this is all because of the new digital tools that we have. we talk about Twitter, we talk about Facebook, we talk about WhatsApp. This has actually changed the way we look at journalism. Earlier, we would wait for the newspapers to know what is happening. Today, we already know what is happening, what we read in the newspaper. There is this lot of talk going on about a cow getting admission card for examination. I saw this on Facebook yesterday, and today it's in the newspaper also. So for me, that wait for the newspaper man to come and throw that newspaper, that romance of waiting has gone, because the news is already there. Though this is good, it's very good for a democratic society, it's very good for development, it's very good for opinion making. But with these changes, there are new challenges which have sprouted up. Now that is what we are concerned about when you talk about digital, talk about media security during digital age. What are these threats that we face? To my mind, if you allow me, I can broadly divide this in two spheres. One is the threat to a journalist per se, threat to his body per se. Second is threat to his work. When I say threat to a journalist, that is especially so in the conflict areas. And we have n number of incidents in recent times. We all know about Daniel Pearl. What was his fault? His fault was his nationality. His fault was his religion. His fault was his ideology. His fault was his liberal reporting about a conflict area. So that is the threat you face when we talk about a journalist per se. Plus, we have also seen situations wherein journalists have actually got killed in conflict areas. That has got nothing to do with the ideology, but that is the sheer unfortunate incident, and that race against the time to report a news, to break the news. When they rush towards crime scenes, they enter these war zones. You have casualties of journalists. There are a number of examples in that. All these gruesome beheadings that we see, which are being done by Islamic State, most of them are journalists. What are their faults? Their faults are their nationalities and their religion, isn't it? Recently, a Bangladeshi blogger, I think, was lynched or something. It was his ideology which, perpetrated that crime, which was obviously gruesome. We all know about Charlie Hebdo. We know about Danish cartoons. So these are some of the threats that we face. Now, talking about journalism, so to say, your work, the body of work that you have. Today, there is nothing copyrighted, so to say. When I used to read Times of India, I would read Praful Bidwai, I would read Dilip Padukonkar. But today when I read something on internet, I really don't know if the author, if there is authenticity in the work, because of the plagiarism that we see, because of the infringement of intellectual property rights. So that is one threat which comes with digital media. You really don't know. I can Google, I can pick a paragraph from here, I can pick a paragraph from there, I can compose, I can change few words and present that as my own piece. And is it not happening? It is happening. I was once watching Vikas Swaroop's interview. He is a very famous writer. He said, I am not a writer. He said, I am a diplomat. He's in foreign service. I don't know if you've read his books. Slumdog Millionaire was based on his book. He said, I have never written in my life, but thanks to Google that I can write. And I fully agree with him. Today, if I have to know, in my book, I write about Multan, I write about Pakistan. I have never been to Multan. I don't know about Multan. I just Googled about Multan. I found so many things, so many facts. For example, it says Multan is a place where people are soft like cotton and sweet like mangoes. This is what they say about Multan. I didn't know that. My friend Zafar has been to Pakistan, maybe he'll agree with me. So today, there is no paucity of information. But is that information authentic? A lot of plagiarism is going on. So I think that is the biggest threat you face when you talk about media and digital world. Apart from that, I was told about source surveillance. Journalists obviously have their own sources. when they do their work, they have their own sources. Praveen Swami is a friend of mine. Whenever we get to sit together, he always talks about his sources. And let me tell you, he has some good sources. He can dig a story in Pakistan, he can dig a story in Kashmir. Recently, he wrote this piece about this ship which was sunk in Arabian Sea. There were a lot of speculation about that ship. I read his article. Then I read the comments of his article. How people refuted what he had said. But then he had quoted certain technicalities, quoting his own sources. Somebody from naval world, somebody who knew about the speed of the, how many knots per mile the wind speed is, the ship speed is. It was so technical. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you have to protect your sources. So source surveillance is another danger area where we need to work and see to it that our sources don't get exposed. That is another threat that we face when we talk about media and the digital world. I've just jotted out a few points. I'm not an expert, like I said earlier. Then you have this problem of cyber stalking. I have been told that there is a lot of hate mail which goes on, especially so when there is an article which is colored by a particular opinion about religions, about ideologies, about certain conflict areas, especially in Kashmir that we have seen. There are so many pages which are being run. I used to follow those pages just to understand the pulse of the people. There was one called Daughters and Mothers of Shopaiyan that was dedicated to these two girls who got killed. It generates so much hatred to an extent that there have been incidents when people have been cyber stalked, I was told. Some of these famous journalists, they have been cyber stalked, they have been, their email IDs have been hacked. That is another thing that we see. We also see defacing of some of these websites. Obviously we as policemen sometimes block them, which is obviously done in the greater good of the society. So sometimes what happens is that this community hatred is generated because of what we post on internet. And I'm not only talking about journalists or these pages which are being run. I'm also talking about individuals who have got an opinion. And today everybody has got an opinion. Earlier the journalists were identified with, we would read these good journalists, then form an opinion. Today everybody has an opinion. Right from if Saeed Ajmal chucks to, maybe reproduction habits of blue whales, everybody has got an opinion on everything and everything. Therefore, the point I'm trying to make here is that these threats that we face in this digital world are real. We have to devise a strategy how we can fight that. And broadly speaking, I can just say three things. Rather, I will endorse what Mr. Jandial has said, that accuracy of facts is the most important. Let us not distort the facts. Let us not go for TRP ratings. Let us go for the facts. Let us do a story which will do public good. And even if it means, and second thing I'll say is self-censorship. That is very important for journalists. We need to cut down the stories which would generate hatred. Sometimes we request our journalist friends, and most of the times they are obliging, let me tell you, because I have served in sensitive areas like Rajouri, Poonch, where small things, they can trigger, they can snowball into major conflicts. But whenever I have told my journalist friends not to publish this, not to publish that, invariably they have cooperated with us. Therefore, self-censorship is very important. We need to do that, especially in situations where your reports can bring about violence. In the end, I'll just say this, that thank you for tolerating me, even if I made no sense or made minimal sense. But the fact remains that we have to, as a policeman, I can say laws are in place. We have an IT Act. Maybe that is required to be amended. We have to make it more powerful. Plus, we are about to open a cyber police station also, and we can deal with these situations. We are training our people in cyber crime, and for days to come, for weeks to come, months, years to come, we'll be better equipped to fight these crimes, especially this online media, should I use the word, what should I say, the murder of journalism, even if it sounds a little rude. So in the end, I'll say that once again, thanks for having me here. This was the first time I have met Mr. Om Saraf in person. I have heard a lot about him. I have read his writings also. I wish him a very happy birthday and may he live many more years. Thank you so much.
Amongst these 5 or 6, how many would be females? And then trying to be professionally professional, because it's very important for us to be professional in whichever, whatever option that we choose for in trying to look at the careers that we have in our own lives. But over the period of time, what has been said by the earlier speakers, I endorse, I totally agree that professionalism has gradually faded and commercialism has come a big way. But there's no harm in trying to be professionally commercial, but we are trying to be commercially commercial all the way. So the big question is that what we want? And then subsequently we talk about gender equality. I don't know myself when we talk about this particular aspect, because what I get to hear, what I get to understand is there are hardly any female journalists. I'm sure you all know much more than I have to tell you. I rarely see. I do come across most of the friends in journalism on one occasion or the other, but I hardly come across. And we, of course, had very few of them, but they have either left the state or settled out or probably gone for higher studies. They're not here. When we look at the aspect of gender equality, I think more than that, before coming to this hall, what was in my mind was that I will not talk about gender equality, because we have to talk about, competitiveness. We have to talk about the capacity to be in a position to understand the facts as facts and then make stories out of that. We have to understand as to how best can one understand, comprehend, absorb, and then, rephrase, reorganize, restructure or redo in the form of a news, which becomes very interesting for one and all. But that competence, despite the fact that we have a patriarchal society, a lot of things changed when I came into this hall. Nonetheless, I think it's very important for all of us to understand that we need to also, kind of take along with us all those who are willing and wanting to be part of, active journalism. But for reasons best known to, probably I think there is lack of awareness also, because we want some of these professions to come up in a very big way, wherein there could be larger debates. And I'm sure this new vibrant team that we have, in this particular, with the journalism here in Jammu region of the state, can't we have larger debates wherein we can invite, engage, make sure that they are included, they become inclusive? Because it appears as if it is quite an exclusive kind of a program wherein, we hear the voice from the other side, include, and if they have any inhibitions or if they have any doubts and confusions, I'm sure that these can be sorted out. But somebody has to take that initiative. In sociology, we have a paper. I've done my master's in sociology. Other than that, what I teach in my own discipline, and I found it very interesting. In that, there was a paper wherein we were taught about media and sociology, and in that, time and again, there was reference being made to gender sensitization, because our male friends need to be sensitized about several issues. When you hear news, I try and hear it very clearly, and I would like to say that I desperately wait for newspaper every morning, and I actually long for to be closer to radio or television. When I say television, I don't watch any other program other than the news channels, and I love some of the debates, which are very encouraging. But the point here is, even in those reportings and discussions, what I have observed most of the time is that we are not very careful, conscious or sensitive of the fact what kind of gender are we using, what kind of terms are we using. I'll give you one small example. We are revamping the course syllabus for, you all know, B.Ed and M.Ed program, which will be 2 years, right? The statutes were given to me to study and to redo. Everywhere I find his, him. So it took me a day just to, add. I believe in an inclusive approach. I believe in taking everyone together. That is how you win a game. That is how you become the winners. And that is actually I think what was the dream of the father of nation as well, when he meant to have said that my life is my message. I take everybody with me. I have to have an integrated or an inclusive approach. I'm not here for a long speech to bore anyone, because I don't like when people get bored. All that I have to say is that please organize a few more debate sessions, programs, maybe some kind of nukkad natak, skits, small little programs wherein you can actually engage, involve, sensitize, and then ensure that people come and join.
मतलब be realistic. I'm little bit blunt, but मेरा ख्याल है कि चीज़ों को ऑब्जेक्टिवली ही देखना चाहिए. बहरहाल कुछ चीज़ें जरूर सोचनी चाहिए वर्ल्ड प्रेस फ्रीडम डे पे. प्रेस और फ्रीडम में दोनों एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू. अगर फ्रीडम नहीं है तो प्रेस एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर सकता. तो ये तो बहुत नेचुरल सी बात है. और उन सोसाइटीज में जर्नलिज्म एग्जिस्ट भी नहीं करता जहां फ्रीडम नहीं है. जहां जितनी कम फ्रीडम है जिस सोसाइटी में, जिस नेशन में, वहां जर्नलिज्म उतना ही कमजोर और उतना ही बंधक किस्म का है. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एरिया में जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं या इससे पहले जो लोग वहाँ रिपोर्टिंग वगैरह किया करते थे, पता नहीं आप लोगों में से किसी ने किया है वहाँ रिपोर्टिंग करने का चांस मिला है नहीं मिला है, तो वो निश्चित तौर पे एक चैलेंजिंग काम होता था. वो किसी सोल्जर से ज़्यादा चैलेंजिंग काम होता था जो लड़ता था, क्योंकि उसके पास तो हथियार भी होता था अपनी रक्षा के लिए. जर्नलिस्ट तो बेचारा वैसे निहत्था घूमता रहता था सारे वार जोन में और कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन में. और जर्नलिस्टों की ये एक उनके बारे में ये भी था कि जैसे कहा जाता है ना, दूत अवध है उसका वध नहीं किया जाता. लेकिन जर्नलिस्टों को वो सुविधा ज़्यादा मिली नहीं. जर्नलिस्ट बेचारे उनकी कैजुअलिटी का ग्राफ कम नहीं हुआ, पहले भी नहीं हुआ, अब भी नहीं. अब इनफैक्ट अब इधर लगातार और ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है. तो उस पर आप लोगों को कम से कम आज के दिन उसके जितने डायमेंशंस हैं उन पे खुल के बात करनी चाहिए. और आए जो जर्नलिस्ट, आप लोग इस फ्रीडम को कितना इंश्योर कर सकते हैं, उसके डायमेंशंस को कितना और बढ़ा सकते हैं, उसके बारे में कोई रेजोल्यूशन वगैरह भी लेना चाहिए. पता नहीं आप लोग सिर्फ एक फंक्शन के लिए कर रहे हैं या रियली यू मीन इट. लेकिन आप लोग ये फंक्शन कर रहे हैं इस दिन, ये देख के मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है. क्योंकि मैंने और बहुत प्रेस क्लब को देखा नहीं है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा बहुत कुछ करते वरते नहीं. आपका तो क्लब फिर भी बहुत एक्टिव. आई केम हियर सेकेंड टाइम. जम्मू भी मैं सेकेंड टाइम ही आया हूँ. और आपका प्रेस क्लब देखा, मुझे तो बहुत हैरत हुई. ये हमारे यहाँ के दिल्ली के प्रेस क्लब से ज़्यादा बेहतर है, ज़्यादा ठीक ठाक है. और आपके यहाँ पार्टिसिपेशन भी मुझे दिख रहा है काफ़ी है. दिल्ली में प्रेस क्लब में बहुत चीज़ें होती रहती हैं. जर्नलिस्ट बादर नहीं करते, वो अपना कहीं कॉर्नर में बैठ के वो अपनी दुनिया में मस्त रहते हैं. तो दे डोंट बॉदर. आप लोग हाँ, वो अलग अलग कॉर्नर्स उनके रहते हैं, अलग अलग कॉर्नर्स पे बैठे रहे, डोंट बॉदर. तो आप लोग तो कम से कम इतना कंसर्न दिखा रहे हो कि प्रेस फ्रीडम के दिन इकट्ठे हो कि कम से कम कुछ चीज़ों पे डिलीबरेशन कर रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं. तो दिस शोज योर कमिटमेंट एंड कंसर्न. आई अप्रिशिएट दिस. ये अच्छी बात है. और आपका प्रेस क्लब बहुत अच्छा है. मैंने बहुत जगह के प्रेस क्लब देखे हैं. एक आध जगह के प्रेस क्लब को बनवाने में भी थोड़ा बहुत मेरा हाथ रहा है. और एकेडमिक्स में मैं थोड़ा बाद में गया, उसके पहले मैं मीडिया में भी था.